In this video, I'm going to show you one Helix effect that will elevate your ambient and worship presets. Let's open up HX Edit and check it out. All right, so we've opened up HX Edit. I've loaded up my favorite ambient preset, Dynamic Oceans. It's linked in the description below if you want to check it out. The one effect that really kind of makes this preset shine is the feedbacker effect. And typically when I'm thinking feedbacker, I usually would want to use that in order to simulate feedback. You know, I'm running in-ears, or my Helix is running straight to front of house. I've got no speakers on the stage that I can, generate feedback. So you use this effect, the feedbacker. And that's not wrong. That's what the effect is intended to be used for. But the way we're using it here, it's not quite like that. And it's a good way to just add another layer of sauce to your ambient preset. So here's my ambient preset without the feedbacker added. Pretty straightforward, lots of reverb, a little bit of low res delay. And now what I'll do is I'll just drop in my feedbacker, all set up with the settings I would use. And here's that sound here. So basically just using that to kind of generate a bit of a pad, kind of a eerie whistle almost. I'll just walk you through the settings on this real quick. So feedback gain, that's the volume of the feedback effect. And I've got that pretty subtle at like 3.8. You could boost it up a little bit more if you wanted to. Take it up to 4.2. And then I got my feedback type set at 2 octaves above plus a fifth. I set it that way to get those high octaves. And the fifth, because it's kind of the safest way of adding an extra pitch without getting dissonant or having to stay within a scale or a certain key. I haven't really ran into anything where it's stands out as weird. The other main change here is under this reference, and I'm setting it to the lowest. And so what that does is it's referencing the lowest pitch I play, and that's where it's gonna take that pitch and add 2 octaves and a fifth above it. So I'm playing a B. We're going to get our B octaves and then an F sharp on top. Down to G. So now if I go back to that B and make it a B minor, still getting that same sound. If I play a G major. So it's referencing the lowest note you play. Where this does get tricky is if you're kind of arpeggiating a chord a little bit. Then it will kind of cycle through the notes you're playing and kind of add those on top. And if you're playing up high with the 2 octaves and fifth above, it can get a little ear piercing. So you'll want to watch your feedback gain on that. So that's kind of the way I have it set up here. But there's another cool, maybe even more subtle way, and that would be changing the feedback type to Unison. And then I'm also going to bring that feedback gain back down a little bit. And this is just going to be super subtle. Where you're not getting any of those extra octaves or other pitches. But it does create this cool sustained kind of a pad without getting like using a ton of reverb or like, you know, a 20-second decay so your sound lingers. No, you can still use, like I'm using a modest 13-second decay. But this kind of helps smooth it out and let it linger without getting muddy and washed out in reverb. So the feedbacker is the featured effect in my Dynamic Oceans preset. And it really just, it's been my go-to ambient preset for the last several months. And it's got everything from cool lo-fi sounds to a nice rich distortion in there. You can check that out, link in the description. And thanks for watching.